Namaste. I want to explain you to you today in a very simple way because it can be really confusing with all the information that's out there. There is a trinity in nearly everything in the universe: the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost, the electron, the proton, the neutron, the gross, the astral, the causal. I could go on, but I won't. There are three parts that make up you. The first is this floor. This is the true you, the truth, the consciousness. We can call it soul, we can call it spirit. There's different names for it, but we're going to call it consciousness. This is truth. Truth is truth for all times. It never changes. That's why it's called a truth. It is never-ending, blissful peace, wisdom, connected to everything. That's you. Then there is the conditioned you, what you call your personality, everything that you attach an I to. I'm a woman, I am Indian, I'm a teacher, I'm a yogi, and so forth. All the mats around this room are different conditionings that together make up this idea of I am Sheena. This idea of I am Sheena is a conditioning. So each mat is something someone else has given you. So think about it. All these concepts you have of yourself, of your personality, didn't come from here. It came from somewhere external to you. Parents, society, books, movies, friends. The list is endless, but it's all external to you. And as society changes, people change, because nature by its very nature is changing. Your concept of you keeps changing. You never really feel solid. It's constantly in flux. Then there are these blocks, which is your instinctual self, this human form. It's the brainstem in your brain, the animal brain, which we're going to call the instinctual being. That's the third layer. This instinctual being are all the instincts that reside in you for your survival. The instinct to have sex, to procreate, to eat. If you didn't, you would die. To sleep. These occur without you really being conscious of it. Breathing, for example. We don't always have to think of our breathing in order to breathe. It just naturally happens. It has to, otherwise we would die. So your instinctual being is here for survival. The problem with this is we no longer connect to this just for survival. We have changed the definition of what is survival to actually something that is unattainable. So first of all, it's understanding that there is an instinctual being that is this in which you reside in, that is always going to instinctually pull you to things to survive. It'll pull you to sleep. It'll pull you to eat. It'll pull you to sex. For example, when women ovulate, they're really pulled to sex because the body is seeking to procreate, because part of the reason we came into a body is so this body could procreate, to give new life, to create life. The most amazing gift in the world, to create life, to allow for a species to continue. So when you understand this, you start to understand some of your behaviors. But the thing about awareness with this is understanding when you do something, when you are pulled to something, what is it that's pulling you? Is it your instinct? And therefore you need to ask, are you engaging in it really for survival? Or are you engaging in it because of a conditioning? Because these two are very tied, which is why the blocks are on the mat. Then you have to have an awareness of what of your behaviors come from conditionings, things that other people have given you. And then, if you're really aware, what is coming from here, your true self? Very little in most humans is coming from here. There's mats all over the floor, there's blocks. You can't even see this half the time. Imagine when you walk into a room There's mats everywhere, there's blocks everywhere. The minute you walk into it, your attention just gets pulled to here, to there. It feels heavy, it feels cluttered. You can't really hear yourself. It's just very confusing. And when you try and like make it, should I move this here? No, maybe I should move it there. No, it doesn't really fit there. And so you move it there, and then someone walks into the room and says, oh no, it looks better over here. There's always doubt. You're always in a state of discord. Now walk into that same room and there's no mats, no blocks. There's just floor. Think of how light you feel, how spacious, how amazing you feel, because you walk in and there's nothing to pull you externally. There's just you and your ability to go inwards. And then it's clean, because this is also reflected in the mind. So when the mind is freed of all clutter, this, all of it, you have awareness, you've packed it away, you've put it away, you see the true reflection of yourself, because the mind is where you see your consciousness. It's where consciousness reflects itself and speaks to you. But if that mind is being pulled by desires, by conditionings, by things external to you, that mind is like cluttered and dirty and confused, and by its very nature it wants you to be in doubt, so you keep using it. You don't connect to this. So what we're asking you to do in yoga, and what I'm assuming we should be asking you to do in all religions and disciplines in the world, is to raise your awareness so that you can understand what of you is being pulled by this, what of you is being pulled by this, and how can we come back to this? We're not asking you to come to a state of enlightenment. In fact, very few humans in this world can actually reach that stage or will reach that stage. What disciplines are asking you, like yoga, to do is to raise your awareness, to understand where are your actions, your thoughts, your behaviors, where are they coming from? And if you're constantly in a state of discord, then you know that they're coming from here and here. So once your awareness is raised and you understand your instinctual body, then you can put these away. So the next time you have an action, instead of engaging in it, you can be like, actually no, that's my instinct, and it's going above and beyond survival. It's going to pull me. So for example, eating. You're hungry, you eat. And when you're full, you stop, and that's it. But then sometimes you will keep eating, and then you'll eat a chocolate bar, and then you'll go above and beyond survival, and after that you're going to feel sick, or it's going to eventually affect your body, your human form. It's going to give rise to emotions. You're going to extend way beyond the survival, and it's just going to take you into a very endless dark tunnel. So it's understanding what behaviors are instinctual and engaging in them for survival, and then put it to the side. Then it's understanding what of you are conditionings. So this mat, I would look at it and go, okay, this idea that I'm in India and it was given to me, and this mat is full of what it means to be an Indian, and they've been told I should behave like this, and this is Indian behavior, and they've conditioned me. I understand the source of it, where it came from in my parents, the history. I know all of it, and now I can roll it up, put it in the box. And bit by bit, I go across all these concepts of eyes, all these mats. I understand their source. I understand how it influences me. I roll it up once I understand, and I put it away. The more I put away the mats, the more I put away the blocks, what's just left is the floor. The more of the floor I'm connected to, the more of the floor I'm leading my life from. And when you're leading your life from the floor, the consciousness, then there's no discord. You don't question yourself, you don't really are sitting in unease. You're sitting more in joy and bliss and awareness. You understand what your gift is, you know what your purpose is. You're just following without resistance, and there's just joy. And even when this rises or this rises, you can look at it. You can go through the experience of the human form. You can see it, you can experience it, you can know it, because, you know, the human form, this thing that we came into, is nature. It's made up of the 5 elements, and by its very nature, it's constantly changing. And so we, when we're connected more to the floor, while all of this human form is like going through its instincts, its conditionings, it's getting pulled, we can just observe it. And we can experience it without becoming attached to it. We can have a feeling without becoming the feeling. We can be aware of it. We can influence it. You know, but at the core of it, we sit in a place of peace, bliss, and awareness of everything. And when we're aware of something, we can influence and change it in the right direction. So when I teach yoga, even when we're on a mat, I am teaching you to go inwards, to try and have you connected more and more to this. Because right now we're lost in this thing of I need to change the world. We're lobby, we're rebelling, we're doing petitions, we're screaming and shouting, we're feeling helpless. Don't. Opt out of all of that. Change you. Change you by going within, understanding the floor, the mat, the blocks, raising your awareness. When that awareness changes and rises, you'll begin to behave in a different way. You will learn to respond to your world rather than react to it. And as you do that, without having to change anyone around you, everyone around you will start to change, because you will be interacting with them from a different level of awareness. And as you interact with them in a different place, because that awareness will always be from the foundation of bliss, love, wisdom, truth, they will start to change. And then as they start to become curious and change, the people around them will change. And then it will keep resonating outwards. And eventually, it'll move beyond your world. And even if it doesn't matter. Because the truth of the matter is, you have to walk through your world. You're not walking through China, Japan, India. You're walking through a world that's yours every day. And how do you walk through your world, which is beyond your control, which is going to constantly shift and change and move? How do you walk through that from a place of peace and bliss and awareness? It's by going inwards and being aware of this, and leading as much as you can from here. And then no matter what happens that is beyond your control, what you will be able to control is how you respond to it. And if you're responded to it from here, then you're always going to be able to walk through it with more peace, more bliss. And sure, you'll suffer, because we're in a human form that constantly is shifting, changing, pulling up. And then we're living in a world with like social media and constantly like brainwashing us, because very few of us understand our brain and how it works and how it downloads everything and doesn't know the difference between fact, fiction, and fantasy. And then that database is how we react to the world. Like, it's nuts. But when you raise your awareness, sure, all that will go on, but you'll be here. And even when you suffer, you'll suffer and you'll be aware of the suffering. But also that suffering will move very quickly, and you'll learn the lesson, and you'll raise a little bit more awareness, and the suffering will keep moving on, and you'll keep going this way. You won't get lost in the suffering and then drown to the bottom of darkness. So that's a very short video. I don't think it's so short. I might have made it a little longer. But just remember, don't be the block. It has a purpose for you to survive, for this human form to survive, as long as it needs to, for you to do what you've come here to do. Don't be the mats. Don't be what everybody else wants you to be, tells you to be, defines you to be. Don't be the conditioning. Be the floor. Be amazing. Be true. Be bliss. Be joy. Be wisdom. Be awareness. Namaste.